something comes after 1, or you think we're live?
I'm just waiting for it to show up on YouTube.
Okay.
Yep. I believe we're live.
Good evening. Welcome to the September 2nd work session of the Lynbrook Board of Education. As previously noted, this work session was added in so this board and administration can continue to keep this community up to date on the fast-changing issues taking place with our school reopening. If we can begin with a salute to the flag. Steph, do you have a flag for us?
I do not.
Here we go. I got one. Mr. Yaker, if you could lead us, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Yaker. Just a couple of organizational issues. There'll be no public comment tonight. This is a work session for the board. Our next live meeting will take place next week on September 9th. The meeting will start at 7:30. We will have the first 30 people that arrive will be able to attend live. Again, we have restrictions established by the governor's executive order that limits the number of people we can have live at a school event. So we are able to handle 30. That meeting will take place in the school auditorium. The entrance will be from the, Dr. Burek, that will be from the front of the building as it was today, correct?
Should be from the courtyard, the
Right,
library courtyard.
Library courtyard from the building. Also, just to clarify some of the issues that come up, next week, the board will take emails during their meeting to address questions during the board meeting. Because of technology and the size of the issues that come up, we'll handle as many questions as we can that are relevant to the meeting. But it's important to express that 90% of the issues that the board has been contacted about are issues that are better addressed to their school principals or to their school teachers. And that will also be the process once school starts. We know how different this is this year and how many unknown issues there are, but we ask that you be understanding and flexible enough with the start of the school, but also understand that when issues arise, most of the time it's most appropriate and efficient to follow that chain of command. So if it's a classroom issue, please contact your student's teacher. If it escalates from there, you need to speak with someone else. 95%, 98% of the time, you can resolve that issue to speak to the principal. So we ask that you go through that chain of command first, address the issues in that direction before sending an email off to the board, because many times we have to just take your emails and funnel them off to those individuals anyway. So as we always have at the start of the school year, we have some new staff members. Linda Artuza is a school nurse. Kathleen Owens, a remote teacher, grade 2 for the district. Kathleen Scalise, chorus teacher, part-time at Waverly Park.
Kristen,
I apologize for that. Kelsey Ochino, teacher assistant, part-time at Marion Street. Mariano DeLacy, long-term substitute social worker at the high school. Noel Santos, long-term substitute guidance counselor at the high school. Malgorzata Lowe's, account clerk at South Middle. And Zachary Jeanette, custodian at West End. Welcome. Also tonight, we have a first reading on our new policy regarding COVID-19 protocols. I believe it's 5301. And now Dr. Burek, superintendent's report regarding reopening.
thank you, Mr. Belmont. I'd first like to say we are all very excited that we're going to open up our schools to the students on September 8th. I appreciate, again, the flexibility of the parents to make September 8th and 9th half days so that we can kind of make them orientation days to ease the students and the families back into the new school year, and then allow us some additional staff development time with the teachers in the afternoon. But we are all very glad teachers have been coming in. We're seeing them as we walk through the buildings. They're eager to come back, and that we hope that we've provided the best possible and safe learning environment for all of those coming back. Since this year is a very different year, we have hybrid learning, we have remote learning. I just want to take the opportunity now just to remind everyone about online etiquette. As we move forward in this world of remote learning, back in the spring, I had sent a letter out to all of the families regarding online etiquette. And then I had put it also in the weekly bulletin. You'll see it in the weekly bulletin tomorrow as well. but I just want to remind everyone that behavior, there are certain aspects of remote learning that we need to address, and their behavior, the environment, and privacy. Privacy of the student, privacy of all of the students and the staff in the classrooms. So I just want to remind everyone that when we have the live video conferences, when we have the live streamed classes, that to make sure that appropriate dress and language is expected of all students when online, that students should mute their microphone at all times except when they're directly contributing to the conversation. And once again, the classroom teachers will be establishing routines and protocols in their own classroom, how they want to handle it. So these are just general behaviors that we would expect. The environment, parents should try to provide a quiet location in the home that is free from distractions. Consider using headphones at home to reduce those distractions. And be aware that the live sessions can unintentionally broadcast activities in your home. So that means there should be no other adults or siblings present unless perhaps they're providing technical support for some reason, but it's really a classroom, it's a new classroom environment for the students and the teachers. And remember, there's also no recording of the live session that's prohibited, and also any altering or sharing content is prohibited as well. So I just want to remind everyone of those online etiquette rules. One of the other items that we wanted to address, we know that we have remote learners and in-person learners on any given day, and it's really something that we want to work on for this year to make sure we bridge the relationships between the remote and the in-person students. So as the year proceeds, we're going to hopefully develop activities, assembly type things, whatever we can to make sure that the kids have some interaction. And as you know, during the year, when new ideas come, building by building, special assemblies are done. This year, there'll probably be virtual assemblies to some regard, but we're going to do our best to try to make sure that we include all students, whether they are remote or in person. So I just want everyone to know that. I have spoken to PTA council presidents. I know that PTAs are creating special packages for students so that all feel included. So that's something special that the PTA is doing to help bridge and to keep a constant between whether you're a remote or an in-person learner. So I just wanted to share that information as well. I know since last week's Friday Bulletin came out, which included information about fall sports, and I only reiterated what the announcement was that particular day. Not that I had a particular say in the matter, because I do not sit on the Section 8 committee, but I just want everyone to know that the district did file an appeal with Section 8 and with the State Physical Athletic Association. And we'll see, basically stating that we were in disagreement with the decision to see if they could bring full sports back, as long as we were able to do it in a safe manner. Even if it was just conditioning, drills, any type of that, just because, and we have said it over and over again, and all the parents who have emailed me, you have to know I agree that keeping kids involved, keeping them active, keeping them connected to the school is very important. That has always been one of our missions here, and it continues to be so. But you know, we're bound by certain rules right now that are existing, but we have stated our intention of wishing that they would overturn the delay.
And Dr. Burek, just for those who are participating in this, which by the way is only 26 people, but this is recorded, so hopefully more will watch, because as this board has stressed numerous times, this is the main place to get information, the weekly bulletins, your principals, and the communications that are distributed by this administration. So, and clarify me if I'm wrong, but although the governor did allow us to begin sports on September 21st, Section 8, for reasons which are not clear to me, and as we know, there's 3 coaches that sit on this board, or to other board members, it's not clear as to why they prematurely, in my opinion, decided not to allow those sports to take place, even though our adjoining county in Suffolk is, which not only from a health and safety standpoint, but for our students that are hoping to get to college and have assistance with scholarships and other things, are put at a great disadvantage. The other issue is that they did put out a letter giving some indication they were going to revisit that issue as school starts and we get closer to that date. But one of the questions I have is if we are able to, is it clear whether or not Section 8's decision precludes us from having our coaches and our kids practicing just as a school district on our fields and conditioning? Is it clear whether we can or can't do that?
It's not clear. It's not clear because they delayed the whole season. It's not clear. And if you look at the governor's statement, it actually says the high-risk sports, including those with full physical contact, may begin practice on September 1st, but cannot play until a later date or December 31st. So if we go just by the governor, it seems that we could have these practices, could have these drills, and then when the season starts, it starts. But Section 8's decision, it's just unclear how we interpret that within our own region.
Right. And the other problem I guess we have is obviously I think swimming, volleyball, and football, because football is one he made clear may be delayed. The other issue we might have to work through because I know this has been an issue that has been talked about, is if we do move forward on the 21st and we are able to have our own conditioning and playing and our team show up, it does raise an issue for us, am I right, that if we do, Section 8 moves the fall season to the spring and they go winter, fall, and then spring, we would have already had our coaches engaged at one point. We have to figure out how we're going to work our teams and our coaches in two different parts of the year. Would that be accurate?
Correct.
All right. So at least we're waiting for more guidance on that, and I appreciate the fact that the administration or our athletic department is paying attention to this fast-changing issue. Thank you.
Good. And then just the last comment I would like to make about reopening, and I mentioned it to the kindergarten parents since they were new to the district. Based on the intent with the number of people who have chosen to come back, at least on the elementary level, to come back in the gold model, it's clear that many people want to be in school. We know our students need their teachers, need to have that direct contact with their peers, with their teachers. That's the best model. No one agrees that remote learning is the ideal type of learning experience. But in the matter of public health, I just want to make this statement that if we all want our kids to be here, we all need to cooperate, and we need to be honest with each other and forthcoming with regard to illnesses or sudden trips that families may have to go on. If your child is not feeling well, I am asking you to please, in the name of public health, keep your child home. I know that it's an inconvenience if you have an important meeting at work and your child has a fever or a child has a cough and you don't know, but that one day of inconvenience or a couple of days of inconvenience, it does not compare to a school district being forced to close down because we have an unintentional spread now of COVID-19. That the way that we have to handle this is we have to take care of each other. We have to abide by all of the restrictions that have been put on us. If we have symptoms, we should be staying home to protect ourselves and to protect each other. So we want our schools to stay open as long as possible. And I just put that plea out to everyone to please work together. You know, Lynbrook is a very close-knit community and we take care of each other. And I'm just asking as we start this new school year, that we continue to do so in this COVID-19 era.
And let's expand that a little bit also, because it's not just as you're indicating if your kids don't feel well. The overwhelming majority of our district decided to send their kids to school. So as families, as parents and students, this is where you want your kids to go. This is how you want them educated. So it's not just about not feeling well. It's about keeping to social distancing policies, not just in the school, but when you're outside the school. Keep your mask on when you're in the school. We shouldn't have any issues or disciplinary issues because a kid's coming to school and not wearing the mask. Hopefully, as a family, we're talking to your kids, stressing the importance of that. And as you get home at night or on the weekends, we need to adhere to the same restrictions, the same smart, healthy behavior we've been doing all along, especially as we get into October and November and the flu season starts. We have to be very keen on keeping up what we're doing to get ourselves through this. And it's in our hands. We control what's going to happen. So we want to be in school. Our teachers want to be here. We want to teach our kids. It's going to take some vigilance on everyone's part.
And I think everyone's concern right now is the upcoming holiday weekend, that we can't be lax in how we socially distance and the wearing of our masks. So it's just very important. So thank you for saying that. And that's what I have.
So, Dr. Beck, just a couple of issues I know we've been discussing. Again, the great thing is we get to have our meeting again next week and see how the beginning of school is. And let's again stress, I don't think we can say it enough times. Everyone has to be flexible and understands just how new this process is. The masks are new, the partitions at the desks are new, the manner in which our teachers have been asked to teach is new, and they've been training at it and they're prepared for it. And there's a much greater sense of enthusiasm, I think, and excitement to get back into the classroom that you get a sense of in our community and in the buildings. You know, many of us have gone around and looked at the buildings and done the inspection. The district has done a great job with signage, getting those classrooms set up safely for the students and for the teachers. And I think it's going to be a great opportunity. If I could ask you just a couple of things regarding that, and some of these issues you may be still working on, and if you don't have an answer, it's great, whether you or Dr. Black is, how is extra help going to be working if the teacher has extra help on a day when there may be half the students are remote or some may be home? Let's say at the secondary level, for instance, how are their hours working? How are they doing it?
So extra help in this new environment does create some interesting nuances. So we're still working on the details as far as extra help is concerned. Clearly, in years past, when if there was a math test given and 60, 70 kids showed up at the door of the teacher to prepare for that math exam, that cannot happen in a COVID-19 world. So we are still working on that with the union, and we'll communicate that as soon as we have a best protocol of how we're going to communicate who can attend extra help and how it's going to be delivered.
And I assume that probably ties in also with grading and how we're going to do grading, and whether it's project-based or testing. I would assume that still is something we have to see how the learning environment works for our teachers to understand the best way for them to evaluate how that curriculum is being understood by the students.
Correct.
Yeah, it's something, Bill, that's going to happen throughout the year. You know, that is something that each teacher in each discipline is working on. We have been having those discussions, and I think everyone, like you said, is going to wait, seeing, you know, how the kids are reacting to different types of assessments. It may not all be traditional tests anymore. You know, you may see more of an emphasis on exit tickets, quizzes, and things like that to contribute to a grade than you would have in, let's say, a normal school year.
And on that point of testing, you made me just think also, are we considering whether or not we would be able to host an ACT and or SAT for our students? Is that something we're considering or not feasible, or how's that looking?
It's actually something that's happening. I'm sorry, Dr. Bear.
Yes, I'm sorry. Last week's Friday correspondence from Mr. Reynes, he mentioned that the SAT, we're not going to be a national site on that Saturday date, but we're choosing a school day. It's going to be October 14th, and it's going to be an SAT date just for Lynbrook High School students. And we have an availability of about 150. So that's the SAT test site that we're going to be. We're not an ACT test site until April. So we're not, we're going to wait and see what the ACT folks say about that by the time April comes. But right now, it's what it is for April with the ACT.
And you know what? Now I think of all these different things pop up. Is there any thought to yet? And again, this may be premature, especially because who knows where the world will be in 4 months. But with the capabilities of doing remote work, might snow days be a thing of the past, or that's something we just have to wait if the state will allow us to recognize that as an option?
It would be great. It would be great since we have remote learning already in place. It would be great just to have remote learning continue on a snow day, but we don't have any of that guidance yet from the state. I'm assuming that by the time we get to November, December, you know, the upstate school districts, they're going to get snow earlier than us. So that will be determined for them before we hopefully have to deal with that.
Thank you, Dr. Burek. Mrs. Hanson?
Yeah, I had a question going back to the SAT. If your child, there is an SAT currently on the 3rd. If your child is scheduled for that SAT on October 3rd.
Right, that's not taking place.
Okay.
That's not taking place.
Okay.
I mean, those are most of the issues I had thought about as we began this process. Again, appreciate the fact that everyone's taking the time to have this meeting a week before the opening. Again, the administration, the teachers, everyone's done a great job. Tablet pickup went smoothly. The building inspections went well. The kindergarten, the orientations went well. So I think we're ready to go. Are there any other questions from any other board members?
I just want to pipe in for a second that the custodial staff and the maintenance crews have done a tremendous job this year. I did the kindergarten center walkthrough the other day, and they're still like, they had to get each kid a desk. They had to put together 220 or 200 some odd desks for the kindergarten center. Not only put the desks together, but then put the shields up, and that in and of itself was a tremendous thing. Plus, they had to move out furniture from different classrooms and put it in storage, and they did a tremendous job.
Across the district, they all did so.
Yep.
Yeah, I just want to pipe in. I did the Waverly inspection yesterday.
I actually have board inspections on next week's agenda for the next meeting. Go ahead.
Okay, I looked at Waverly, West End and North. I have nothing to report. That's tomorrow. I'm doing those inspections, but I kind of realized as a mom, I didn't know what to expect when I walked into those rooms, and I was sort of had an anticipation, and I'm really happy to report that, it looks like Waverly. It looks, the floors are gleaming, and those classrooms have color and personality and are exciting, inviting places where kids want to be. And the dividers they're there, but they're not as sort of bulky, and they don't feel as much like barriers as I thought they might. So I think the parents and the kids will be really pleasantly surprised. I did it with Mrs. Celentano, who's one of the presidents of the Waverly Park PTA, and I think we both were impressed with how inviting the classes were.
That's good to hear.
Seeing nothing else from the board, we can move on to superintendent's recommendations. Few items to act upon. I'd like to ask for a consent agenda on resolutions 2007C1 through 2007C21, 2009 NC1 through 2009 NC6, and 2009 G1. Oh, you're all excited. Through 2009 G16. May I have a motion, please? Mrs. Marcus. A motion to accept the consent second. Mrs. Hanson. Can I have a motion, please, to accept the consent agenda? Mrs. Genino, second. Mr. Pelesci. All in favor? Can I have a motion to adjourn this meeting to go into executive session to discuss matters of personnel? Mrs. Genino, second. Mr. Yeager, thank you. So we're excited. Everyone should enjoy the rest of their summer, and we're looking forward to starting school next year, and we will be ready. Thank you. Be safe.